I was talking to my mom today. My mom's 70 years old. Love you, Catherine. Anyways, we were talking about her age and what she's doing, right? So she just retired from work. She's worked her whole life. I've only known my mom to work. She does home health. She helped other people. And now she's at the age of retirement. She retired. And I talk about this, especially through real estate and investing and stuff, especially with you guys who are real estate investors, why I believe real estate's the best investment vehicle for you in your later years. I really believe that. I asked my mom this. I was like, Mom, what if you would have bought all of the houses on the block where she lives at? Because she could have. She's like, oh, I'd be rich. I wouldn't have to worry about nothing. And in my head, I'm just like, dude, could you imagine had your family bought everything that they could have bought and held on to it all this time, wanted to be paid off? They'd be balling out of control with cash flow. And all of the properties at the time that my mom was like, well, all that stuff is expensive. And I was like, but it's cheap today, right? Like in comparison to what you could have bought it for. She bought her house for like 30 grand. She got a bank loan, 100% financing. As a matter of fact, instead of a 30-year loan, she was on a 36-year loan and she paid it off, right? That's how much things have changed since that time. But $30,000, she could have probably bought 10 houses where she lives at now. Because I think, and it would have blown my mind, because where she lives at in Louisiana in the country, I would have never thought that her house would have been anywhere near worth even over 100,000, much less whatever it's worth today. So that said, the reason why I bring that up is this: real estate's a better tool because when you get older, you don't need a big hunk of money. Like my mom doesn't need $1 million. She needs cash flow coming in every month. So when you get old, you're only going to need cash flow. You're not going to need a big hunk of money like other people think. So, and you guys have heard me talk about it. I've updated our IRA book, so it's in there. And this isn't new. You can Google this information. And I want to say it's underneath the Federal Reserve and all the other things that go along with it. But there are $37 trillion trapped up in retirement accounts. $37 trillion. And out of the $37 trillion, 68% of people don't even know where their money is, what their money's invested in. Unknown, right? It could be in Raytheon. It could be like Raytheon, who makes engines, jets, and all that other stuff. And what are jets? Like they make warships. It could be in war. It could be in gunpowder. It could be in medicines. It could be in psychiatric medicines and treatments that we all know doesn't work. That drug our kids. That all the stuff that you probably hate: cigarette, drugs, weed, heroin, meth, all of that stuff funded by your IRA account. Why? Because you don't even know what it's in. What do you think this is? All the stuff you see, you are funding those campaigns through your IRA account because it's in mutual funds and or stocks or bonds or Wall Street. The other thing that your stuff may be funding that you don't know is zombie companies. Zombie Company is basically an LLC that doesn't make any money. It makes just enough money to pay its debts because it's highly leveraged, and it makes no money to do anything else. So it's basically holding on. An example of a zombie company that we all know, and if you're young, you might not know, is Sears. Or another one right now is JCPenney's. JCPenney's is also considered a zombie company because it makes no money. And if you don't believe me, go to the mall and walk through JCPenney's, and you will see no one in there, empty shelves, barely people working, a sign at the door. The door's gapped open with like a rat mouse trap because they're like, dude, we're not touching this thing. It's on its way out, but your retirement account is still buying shares of JC Penney's, even though they're going out of business and you saw them. As a matter of fact, if you watched the news the other day, the last of the Mohicans, um, Kmart, the last Kmart just finally closed, limped its way across the finish line. But your retirement account is still funding stuff like that. There's other zombie companies. A lot of tech companies now have been funded through mutual funds because they go raise money. There's nothing in there. And they wait and say, hey, we're not going to be profitable for 10 years. And if you think that's not true, Amazon wasn't profitable for decades before it actually made a profit. What was it? Facebook, not profitable. All these other companies we see. Matter of fact, ChatGTP, still not profitable. That's how they work. SpaceX started off as a nonprofit, if I'm not mistaken. SpaceX started off as a nonprofit? No, ChatGTP, AI started off as a nonprofit, then switched over. That was a model. It wasn't SpaceX. My bad, Elon. you've always been profitable because he uses his own money. Anyways, I bring all that up to say this. $37 trillion trapped in your retirement account. You don't know what it's in. If you're 40 years old, you have another 30 years before you can tap it, which leads me to my next point. As you get 72, and I think it's 73, which is why I brought up the conversation with my mom, because my mom is 70. Even if she had a retirement account, which she didn't, you are required to take out 4% a year out of your retirement account. It is by law. You are supposed to do it. That's the deal that Wall Street made with the IRS that says, fine, we'll let you use all these people's money and you create a product called the IRA 401k. If you don't believe me, look it up. 401k is actually a 401 with a K around it. That is actually inside of a document from the IRA that allows the matching and all the other stuff to the employee. It doesn't work, but you're still required to take out 4%. 4% a year. Let's say when you hit 70 years old, we use 70 as a base. All right. Odds are, if you're 70, I bet my mom lives to be 95. She's a hard worker. She was a hard worker. She has a great attitude. She got a boyfriend now. She's going to live a long time, man. Anyways, if she lives to 90, let's just say she lives another 25 years past her. 4 times 25 years is 100%. So if she had money in a retirement account, that's one, wasn't a zombie company, not making any money, so it's losing money, fluctuating up and down. She doesn't know what it's in. She can't keep up with the market. She can't keep up with inflation. She can't do any of that stuff. That means 100% of her retirement account will be drained to zero. And not only drained to zero, but if she took on any money, how many of you guys think the taxes are also going to be higher as she gets to 80 years old, 90 years old, 10 years from now? Because guaranteed 100%, no matter whether it's Trump or Kamala Harris or the president after her or him or the president after them over this next 25-year period, they will print more money because of inflation. It's an inflationary scenario. That's how they keep the economy going. That said, so now we got higher taxes, not keeping up with inflation because more money will be printed. So what her dollar can buy will buy her a lot less. And now she's almost 90 years old with no money in her retirement account that probably was fluctuating up and down. And the only thing left she has is her home, which is paid off, which will have to be tapped, or it'll be left to me and my sister, which will probably liquidate because we'll have to pay property taxes on it or lose. Like, this is what's happening, whether you believe it or not. Here's the only difference is that you guys have information that my mom didn't have when she was young, or my dad. My dad's under the same scenario. 70 will be tapped. He does not have a retirement account, but he has his Social Security, all that stuff. He has assets like my mom, but because they didn't plan when they were younger, because no one taught them about money, finances, wealth, we didn't understand. I didn't understand this until maybe 5 or 6 years ago because I wasn't thinking wealth. I was thinking I'm a real estate guy and I want to buy a bunch of real estate. I didn't do this right, which is why I'm doing it this way now. So why do you care? And I'm going through this because Sharon and I are going to go to the store, but I wanted to make this video before we go in the studio so I can get this thing done. But here's why I think real estate, which is the whole purpose of this, versus stocks inside of your retirement account. All right. So I know for one, and I'm going to break this thing down. I will go over points. You can watch this later. I do talk fast, probably because it's on a video, but I do this so you can go back and see it later, right? Number one, best thing about this, you get cash flow now. With real estate, you get cash flow now. Boom. You invest in a deal that's big, multifamily property, 100 units, 200 units. It's full, professional management in place. You start getting cash flow right away. If you were to convert your IRA out of the stock market, mutual funds, and all the other stuff into real estate, which you can do, right? So you get cash flow now. Now, first, you personally don't get the cash flow. Let's say you have 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000 in IRA that you convert and you self-direct that money out of the stock market into a real estate deal. By law, you aren't allowed to actually get the cash flow, but the cash flow is going to your retirement account. So it's gaining that money every month, right? Next, cash flow later. Cash flow later. You'll continue to get that cash flow. So not only do you get cash flow now, you get cash flow later. Why? Because that property tends to go up in value. So let's say we were to get a deal, it's cash flowing. I go back to the bank, I refinance the property, take out your initial investment. I push it all back to your retirement account. That money is tax-free, still tax-free because it's a tax shelter. Your retirement account should be either tax deferred or whatever it's called. So you either pay taxes on it now or taxes on it later. Most people pay taxes on it later, so they invest pre-tax dollars into their retirement account. So you get that cash flow comes back to you later, and you get your initial investment back into it. So you can still put that money back into play, which you cannot do into the stock market. If your money goes out and it's in there, you're not touching it, great. It goes up and down. You have no say so over that. As opposed to real estate, you can get your initial investment back and it goes back into the tax shelter you set it up in. All right. Next thing, real estate, the values continue to go up. In this situation, they continue to go up. Now, if you have residential property, that's not always the case. It could go down because you may have bought a house for $1 million and you paid all cash for it. Your neighbor paid all cash for their $1 million home. Their kids get sick. They want to sell, leave the country. They can sell for 600 grand. Now, your value of your home is now worth 600 grand because it goes by comps. But in multifamily real estate, it goes by income, right? So when that property says it's worth 10 million, $20 million based on the revenue of that property, it doesn't matter if the other properties around it sold at a discount. The trade is going to happen because of the income. You're not buying real estate, you're buying income, which is why it's called income producing real estate. So your retirement account gets the benefit of the valuation of that real estate deal. So if you invested in a deal, all your money's in there, you fill out your paperwork about how much your retirement account's worth. It's worth the value of the asset that it controls. The percentage of ownership you control, that's where that's at. All right, next. And I'm kind of going over that, but it's an inflation. It's an inflation hedge. Did I spell inflation? Inflation. You guys get it. There's no spell check on the whiteboard. Inflation, it's an inflation hedge. So as inflation happens, real assets like real estate actually gets more valuable in an inflationary period. Inflation just means that your dollar buys less because the cost of goods have went up. The value of your dollar has gone down because they pump more money into the market in deflating the value of what you can purchase, right? So from 2020, the US dollar has lost 20% of its buying power. So if you had $1 million in an account in 2020, in 2024, moving into 2025, your $1 million buys $800,000 worth of goods. That's what happened. Really $750,000, but I'm going to give it 20%. In my lifetime, I'm 51 years old. I was born in 1973. The value of the dollar lost 86% of its value since I was alive, right? By the time I'm 90, I guarantee you that will actually, the dollar will probably be worth 10 cents. Matter of fact, Warren Buffett says the dollar has lost 90% of his value since he's been alive, and he's almost 100 years old. What does that tell you? You need to be invested in real assets. Because if I took a look at a building the other day. That building was built in 1960. It's selling for $32 million. You show me a 60-year-old man that's worth $32 million, $32 million still to this day that don't have bumps, bruises, and scrapes. He would have to be producing something to be worth something as opposed to the other way around. So if your money in your retirement account was put into multifamily real estate, a real asset, an actual hard asset with an address, something you can touch, it goes up during an inflationary problem. But stocks tend to go down, right? Because stocks are just share certificates of businesses, and business values goes down as the cost of goods go up. So, what's the last one? Oh yeah, it's real. Real estate is real. Unlike I said, stocks are pieces of paper. Stocks are pieces of paper. They're not real. They don't have an address. They don't have nothing. If you buy a share online, you just bought a share online. It doesn't matter. But if you invest in a multifamily real estate, you can actually drive to that property, pull up in the parking lot, talk to the people who live there, talk to the people who pay rent, talk to a professional management company. It's a real, tangible asset. It is not the same thing with stocks, mutual funds, bonds, CDs that you would pay for, even bonds. A bond certificate. I think my mom bought a bunch of bond certificates for our kids. And there were pieces of paper that was in an envelope that when she came to visit, she brought it here and handed it to us. Like it's different. It's not the same thing. So that's the other thing is that real estate itself is real. It's a real asset. It's tangible, unlike a stock and or stock certificate. And I think now, man, they're just digits. You just see them on a screen. You press a button. Same thing with money. None of it's real. So that's why I know 100% I believe this thing, guys. I really do. I share this with you to kind of go over this. If you have an IRA, you can convert your IRA into a self-directed IRA and you can move your own money. You don't have to have a financial advisor tell you, hey, this is good because they get the fees off of that. You can move your own money into a deal that you can do your own assessment, your own understanding, meet the manager, meet myself, talk to people like that, look at the deal, drive by it, go on Google Earth and pull it up. It's real. You can't do that with your IRA. Guarantee, if you want to question that, call your financial advisor right now and say, hey, what's in my IRA? And then pick up the phone and try to talk to the CEO. Ain't gonna happen. I can promise you. They will. Matter of fact, if you just call Fidelity, it took me 2 days to get the right person at Fidelity to call me back, whether I was a customer or not. That's crazy, crazy. Anyways, I said that to say, when you get older, you don't need a big lump sum of money. You don't need $1 million, $2 million, $10 million. It's nice, but it's not a need. What you need is cash flow. My mom don't need a big hunk of money. She needs cash flow coming in every month so she can live her life, and preferably have that cash flow constantly growing. And then when she dies, she can pass it on to myself, my sister, beautiful, anybody else in my family. Same thing with my family. That's what the company I'm building is going to allow my family to do, that and other families to do that. I didn't know that when I was in my 40s or in my 30s or worse in my 20s, right? But I want you to know that. That's why I'm so passionate about doing these things, because I'm setting up a vehicle for you to be involved. I didn't have that before for people. Matter of fact, it wasn't even legal to do. Thank you, Obama. He hooked that up. So anyways, I hope that helps you guys. So if you have a retirement account, you want our help, go to bell-capital.com/IRA, download our book. There's a guide there. It goes over what you need to do. There's 3 steps you can do. If you want our help to help you do that, do that. We have a great company. It's a strategic partner we work with, Preferred Trust Company. They will allow you to do that, and you can invest with something that we're doing. And we also work with Equity Trust. They have, I think they've done over $51 billion of custodian or assets, however they do that, whatever their terms are, the fancy smart terms. They do that. They're also a company that we work with. They can help you. So we have 2 resources to be able to do that. If you have questions about your specific scenario about your IRA, call us. I can put you in contact with somebody myself, either me or someone on my team, to be able to walk you through that. I know a lot about those things and annuities, all that stuff. But I'm here for that. So like this video, share the video, comment on it. I know I talk fast. One, because I promised to do this training today, because again, I was talking to my mom and we were talking about retirement, and I wanted to share that with my audience, you, and hopefully shed some light on something that I feel passionate about. And hey, look, if it's not for you, I get it. But this is real. It's irrefutable, regardless of whether you don't like it or not, but this is what's happening. $37 trillion stuck. 24 trillion of that, people don't even know where it's at. 4% of your money will have to come out for as long as you live until you die. Once you hit a specific age, which is 72 or 73, depending on what year you were born, that is going to happen. It's going to raise your tax whatever it's called, ramifications, because if you get more money, you get taxed on more money. It's earned income. It's going to be taxed that way. And if it's in mutual funds, stocks, bonds, and that goes down along the way, you lose and or so get wiped out. Matter of fact, there's a report that just came out that shows that it is at its peak. It's like 200%. It's like a Buffett test, Warren Buffett's test. It's 200% over, which means it is time for that world to also have a correction. So I'm just sharing that with you guys, and maybe this video will be dated later and you'll look back and go, shit, that guy was right. Or that guy was stupid and he's wrong, but whatever. I'm sharing it with you. No one shared it with me. I share what I learned with you guys so you guys can make better decisions. So bell-capital.com. You want to invest with us, go there, hit invest or schedule a call. There's only 2 things you can do there. We do have a call coming up for people with 300,000 or more. Go to bell-capital.com/300K. Bell-capital.com/300K. Only if you have 300K, only if you are an accredited investor, but you're serious about investing. We're going to be having that. So, and I'll be talking about that more. But I hope this helps you guys. Share it, like it, comment it, subscribe. Give it a thumbs down if you hate it. Don't be a hater and a hider at the same time. I love my haters. I do. And if you have a comment, put it in there. I'd love to get your feedback on this, or if you know something I don't, put it in there, because I like to go back and forth with people. So actually we can connect. All right. Have a great day today. Get after it. Let's go. Boom.